Hello, this is Martin from Remote Control Bits. This is video 13, the final kind of instalment of the build of the Axial Honcho SCX10. You can see laid out in front is the first stage that we're going to do, which is assembling the front bumper for the Honcho. That's steps 41 and 42, and the mounting is step 52. And then we're also going to cover in this video the assembling of the beadlock wheels, and then the mounting of all the components, so the bumper, the wheels and the body to the chassis, to be presented with our final truck. It's worth pointing out at this stage, this bumper is very versatile. It's got some marks where you could mount a winch, and you would then just need to take out a section from the front to let the winch come through and the aluminium plate. Also, the mountings for the lights that you see here, you don't just have to use the ones that are noted in the kit. Any of the lights that are on the parts trees will fit. They've got the same mounting, and you've also got a choice of different stone guards that you can fit onto the front, so it's worth bearing in mind. You can even fit some of these small LED mounts through some of these holes if you wanted to put sort of rock lights on. The easiest way to assemble this is to assemble each of these lights and mount them on the bumper, and then put your plates on. So I'll go ahead and assemble one of these lights. So first, assemble the spotlights. There's clear lenses, and there are some small pins on the backs of the lenses, you can see, and they go into the small holes in the plastic back. They should just push in. And then these stone guards, they just clip on the outside, and again you've got a choice. There's then this little piece that would be used to mount an LED to the back, which I am just going to mount up at this stage. It's held in place, a small screw. And these are mounted onto the bumper. You'll see there's a small pin in the back, and that goes on that mounting. You can see I've mounted one of the lights on the front. The easiest way to mount these, if you just load up your driver with a screw and push it through, and then just put a couple of turns on. Then once you're happy that it's bitten, you can then drop the pin at the back of the light into its recess and then just tighten them up. Those aluminium plates, they just drop in. There's some grooves and they fit quite flush, and there's a series of small screws. Just wind them down until it just bites up the aluminium. Okay, I'll go ahead and put the final two aluminium panels on, and then come back and show you mounting on the chassis. So the mounting of the front bumper is very much the same as the mounting of the rock sliders that you saw in earlier videos. On the bumper there are two pins, and on the front of the chassis you can see there are two holes, and that bumper then slots in, and you've got some adjustments. You can choose which holes you want to mount it on. I like to push it right the way home, and then there are some small threaded pins that go down through. Just find the hole that you want it to go through, and then they just thread up onto that mounting. Now the other bumpers that are available from Axial, the ones that fit the Dingo, will also fit using this same system, so you can interchange them. I'll get all the bits now ready to start putting the beadlock wheels together. You can see now all the beadlock wheels and tyres laid out in front. The only real difference between the Honcho and the CF100 kit is that you get an extra wheel with the Honcho, and it is a full working wheel, so proper beadlock with a tyre and beadlock rings and everything. Both kits are supplied with Proline's flat iron tyres that are fairly soft, good all round tyre, and then memory foam inserts, which are slow to react, which are good. If you've not used beadlocks before, it's a system where you have the main wheel or hub, the tyre, then on the inside there's this beaded edge which drops down in a recess, and then there's a ring that goes on the top and is mounted to hold the tyre in place. So first thing, if they're not already in, is to put the foam insert inside the tyre. Just check that it's all seated correctly. And then mount up our first wheel. So just push the wheel through. Just check that the foam's not poking out. And then we want to just work that bead down into that groove that's there, all the way around. Just get it part way in, don't worry about forcing it all the way down. When you put the ring on, that'll pull it home. So there's two different rings. You can see this one, the wider one, goes on the outside and the narrow one goes on the inside. If you fit them the other way around, you'll probably find that these will catch on the steering arms. So just line them up. Put your first screw in. You really want to get a handful of turns on, just so that the head of the screw is sat on the beadlock ring. Not all the way in, just enough to pinch that first bit of rubber. Then we need to go through a process of going in a star pattern. So we go first here, and then we go to the one that's opposite. And again, I'll do the same. Just nip it down so it's on top of the beadlock. So we've gone 1, 2, and number 3, come back down over here. And we continue this process, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6. Once you've done all of them, you can then just tighten them down so that this ring is firm against the actual rim of the wheel. Turn it over and repeat it on the other side. When it's done, this is what it'll look like. You can see that there's no gap underneath the bead on both sides. You can see the tyre is very well mounted, and however hard you try, that isn't going to pull out. So when you're on the rocks, the tyre is going to stay onto the rim. Now there's a lot of screws that need to go into here. Actually, for the Honcho there's 60 screws to go in, so there's quite a lot, and you'll find this is quite a tiring job. But if you haven't started building your kit yet, I recommend, you can start doing some of these while you're painting the body. So in your breaks, while you're waiting for the coats to finish, you can come, put a few screws in, and then go back and do your next coat. That way it's not such a big task to do. I'll go ahead, I'll carry on going through these. I'll put all the screws in and the bead locks. When we're ready, I'll come back and show you mounting them onto the chassis. Before mounting the body and the wheels, we just need to do some final prep work to the chassis. You'll see there are some small body mounting posts, and they go into some holes on the chassis and are secured then with small body pins. There's then some small hexes that are going to fit in the back of the wheels, and you'll see there are some tiny grub screws that you just need to wind a few turns on into these aluminium mountings, ready for mounting on the wheels. I'll zoom in and show you doing those two things. So to mount the hexes for the wheels, there are some very small pins that need to go through a hole in this drive shaft. You'll see if the hole's vertical, when you put the pin in, it'll just fall through and make it very difficult to fit the hex. So what I always recommend is just turn the spur gear until that hole is horizontal. Now you'll be able to push the pin through and it'll stay there. And it kind of goes halfway through. On the back of these you'll see that there is a slot and the pin needs to go into there. Once it's home, you then just need to tighten down the grub screw down onto the output drive. So for the body posts, you can see they mount on the shock hoops, and these holes will allow you to adjust the height of the body. On the rear one, you actually need to push that mounting right the way down, and you'll see then the body pins just clip through to hold them in place. As I say, you can push these up if you want the body to sit higher. For argument's sake, if you were running 2.2 wheels rather than the 1.9s, and you just adjust it and push the pin through. So the rear ones need to go right the way down, and the front ones you then need to put the pin through the very bottom hole, so they're as tall as they need to be. Okay, I'll go ahead, mount up those 4, and then show you putting the wheels on. With the wheels, you can see on the reverse there is then the hex. So all you need to do is just line up that bar, turn it round until you can feel it's locked on the hex, and then we use these locking nuts, spin them on, and then with the tool that's supplied with the kit, just hold the tyre and just wind those on. Not really tight, but just so that they're bitten up. And then you'll see that there are also some hub centres supplied. There are 2 different ones, and this one then goes on the front. All you have to do is offer it up, and it's going to actually cut a thread in the plastic, so when you take these on and off, just be careful that you're not cross-threading it, otherwise they'll fall off when you're using the truck. With all the wheels mounted up and the body post mounted, we can put the body on. So just drop it down, and the tops of the mounts will just come through the bodywork. And then again, using these little body pins, just push those through, and that'll just secure the body on. The final thing we need to do is install a spare wheel and tyre onto the rear of the truck. This is held in place with this piece that's got a nut inside. So just drop the wheel on, and then you just need to gently put your finger on the top. You can then just wind that down and hold that in place. And there we go. All we need to do now is pop a battery pack in and take it out on the trails. Just want to say a big thank you to everybody that's shown support for putting this series together. It's been a pleasure to do, and I hope I've gone into enough detail for anybody new to give you the confidence to build one of these kits. I'll take some time now and do some running videos, and also I'll try and make some videos of various sort of hop-ups and upgrades that you could do. Different wheels and tyres, LEDs, those kind of things. So thanks for watching, do subscribe, and keep in contact.